Hello. Many people talk about the law of attraction. Isn't it remarkable that social consciousness has realized that the law of attraction exists and that everyone can benefit from it? How else could things be? Thought is connected to life. It truly creates life. Just as the horse pulls the carriage and not the other way around. This knowledge had got lost at the moment man considered that only material reality exists and nothing else. Why did we forget that before a house is built, a mind first designs it internally and only then on paper? The mind or the mental space also exists. Now we are interested in learning how we can change the circumstances of our lives. It's very natural to want to improve one's condition without having to make an excessive effort to do so. And it is true that what we usually think, we become. The fact is more than evident if we observe the usual flow of thought and compare it with our life's situation. We won't find much difference. You think about how hard it will be to pay your bills and difficulty appears in your wallet. You think you are aging and signs of aging appear on your body. The fear of illness lingers in your mind, and then you truly get sick. You think the neighbor ignores you, and the neighbor turns his back when he sees you. Thought creates reality, and then reality confirms the thought that was always the initial cause but was forgotten. Now you may ask why something so important has forgotten. It was probably done to see if we can rediscover the fundamental truths we once knew long ago. And perhaps there was a bit of help to achieve this almost complete result of forgetfulness. But such questions are best answered individually when one can, to ensure the answer is true for them. Of course, the current situation didn't arise in a day. It started unnoticed and was established gradually. The same will happen if we change the flow of thought from negative to positive. We don't need to constantly think about everything we lack. The feeling of gratitude is an easy start to changing the flow of thought. It's like changing the river's course. Water symbolizes life. Wherever it flows, it gives life. By changing our thoughts, what we think will start to come to life, meaning it will appear in material reality. We can start thinking a little positively. Focus on what we have and what is good. One thought a day at first, then two, and the process can increase. Less negativity, more positivity. I recommend this gradual approach for two reasons. First, because it is realistic, meaning practical and somewhat easy. And second, because in the mental world, things are a bit different from the material world. In the material world, everything is defined and limited. The wall is always here. When you get out of bed, you will step on the floor. Your house always has the same size and the sun always rises in the east. So we can have a good degree of control over our environment. In the mental world, it is different. Thoughts follow one another very quickly. We can't catch them and put them on the couch to stay there until we decide to move them again. The mind doesn't quiet easily. Emotions get out of control before we realize it. We have somewhat lost the ability to handle mental phenomena, but this can change, and it must change. The ability to control mental phenomena can be built gradually. The law of attraction is real, and you can reach out and touch what you desire. Now, touching it for a moment by closing your eyes and then opening them to still see the undesirable situation is different from touching it and then seeing the new desired life situation established in your life as a true material reality. We want to achieve the latter, of course. This miracle needs to be created. The method is simple, but not easy. However, if we don't work for it, nothing will change. There won't be a sudden change. It won't be caused by another factor, separate from you. This gift you give to yourself. Some say that what you truly desire, you will achieve. Yes, it is because only for what you truly desire are you willing to face all possible obstacles and persist until you achieve it. The big obstacle between you and achieving the desired life situation is the existing undesirable one. This is the obstacle, and there is no other. If you desire health, then illness is the obstacle. If you desire wealth, then poverty is the obstacle. If you desire joy, then sorrow is the obstacle. The obstacle won't go away in a day, nor by drinking a magic potion. What has been your behavior so far? Did you place the blame on others? Did you feel self-pity? Were you angry? Were you anxious? Did you feel defeated? Did you try to avoid the undesirable reality? Did you try to escape using every possible way? Now, you will start looking at the undesirable situation, the one that is the obstacle between you and what you want, and you will begin to look it in the eyes. You will become aware that you created it and you maintained it. You will face it for as long as it takes without self-pity, without anger, without anxiety, without a defeatist attitude. You won't avoid it. You won't escape. You will stay there and fill your mental space with your presence. Persistence and perseverance are the mental abilities we need to change the river's flow, the flow of thought. Repetition is the key. Your energy will spread, it will grow. You don't even need to try to explain anything. Understanding will come anyway. It will seem a bit like a battle, but it truly isn't. It is a transformation that requires your complete presence to be accomplished. And through this experience, you will discover that by simply being there, facing what is happening without needing to do anything about it, your struggle will end the end will find you on the other side of the line, where the desired situation is expressed in the material world. It exists and you can enjoy it. Disappointment must not be allowed because the result is delayed. In the material world, we have the element of time. In the spiritual world, this doesn't exist. Linear time does not exist. Can you withdraw any interest regarding when you will see your desire fulfilled? If you do this, your experience will be relaxing and the result will come sooner. Stress about time acts as an obstacle. Imagine a sculptor creating under stress. He will make mistakes, not be happy with his creation, and it will likely take longer. The element of joy is important, as joy and relaxation together contribute to the ability to create. And why not, after all? You don't do all this to suffer. You want to build a new life situation, to be happy in it. The element of joy can be present from the beginning and maintained throughout the journey. When you see it fade, simply recreate it with your decision to be there. If the face-to-face confrontation with the current undesirable situation tires you, take a break. I mean, a withdrawal from your creative work for a while, until you feel ready to pick it up again. This way, you will always have fresh energy to continue, just as the sea has strength, moving back and forth with the waves. A good result requires good techniques. The better the methods, the less effort and strain you need. The current undesirable situation will gradually start to be less intense, less real, less present. It will fade. You will see it happen. The pace of changes will be like the growth of a plant. We can't perceive it because its speed is beyond our perceptive ability. However, it happens, and the result is evident. During this time, you don't need to make dramatic changes in your life. On the contrary, it's better to be gentle and continue to work in your mental space, which is the laboratory for producing your life. Continue living as you were. It's better not to make announcements about your mental work. People tend to underestimate things they don't understand or aren't accustomed to. They might make you doubt the results or even ridicule you. It's better to keep it to yourself. This path is a bit lonely but much safer. In your inner laboratory, you operate from a position of cause, and no one and nothing can stop or hinder you. You don't need anyone's permission. You are the sole boss. You are the one who perceives and decides everything. All other abilities, qualities, and characteristics of the self are added or subtracted depending on what we want to achieve each time in life, depending on what our current goals are. But these two basic abilities, the ability to perceive and the ability to decide, were, are, and will always be there. The time interval between a desire and its appearance in the material world also has its advantages. Imagine every thought appearing instantly as a fact. What would happen with negative thoughts? We would get sick as soon as we thought of an illness. A disaster would occur as soon as we thought of a disaster. From this perspective, the delay is slightly beneficial. Repetition is the key element. When a thought is repeated, it creates a field with the corresponding qualities of the thought. The thought of abundance, for example, creates a field in the mental world with the quality of abundance. This mental field behaves like a gravitational field. The stronger we make it, the more strongly it will attract similar things. That is, events in the material world with the characteristic of abundance. Negative thoughts, in exactly the same way, will create the mental field that will attract similar events. Knowing the mechanism, we can consciously decide what to think and what not to think. Previously, we did it unconsciously and it worked in exactly the same way. You need to reach the end, where the mental field has become so strong that your life has taken on the colors you desire. The very important thing is to be able to handle the opposite thoughts that will arise out of habit, since they created your existing mental field. What is thought? It is something that communicates. So you receive a communication. It says, "Oh, my money is not enough." Create a small distance between you, who perceives the thought, and the thought itself. This way, you don't need to identify with it. In truth, you don't need to identify with any thought, positive or negative, just as you don't need to identify with your chair. Adopt the attitude of, I heard and understood your communication. This is the response you give to the thought's communication. You don't need to agree if you don't like it. You don't have to do what the thought said if you don't want to, especially if it goes against your new goals. The thought persists until it is perceived by you or someone else, and then the mind quiets down. This is why when we have spoken to someone who really listened to us and understood what we said, we feel relieved. This simple method will give you control over everything that happens in the mental world. Without your agreement, the thoughts you don't want to persist will lose the power you gave them and will eventually disappear. They will be replaced by new thoughts that you now empower with your agreement and vital energy. People feel helpless and overwhelmed by their thoughts because they don't know how to manage them. They identify with them, and that's where they lose the game. To handle something, you first need to detach it from yourself. Create this small but crucial distance. The distance that will allow you to see thought as something that is not you. It's just a thought. Then listen to the thought that speaks to you and acknowledge that you have received a communication. And that's where the whole issue ends. The next time you perceive the same or a similar thought, do exactly the same thing. At first, all this might seem strange, but it's better to judge by the results that will appear as you behave this way. Everything will go well as you build your ability to make things go well, because you create your life, your reality. The magic power is in your hands. And for it to work, it simply needs to be used.